If you're looking for a place to settle a score, to get back at your enemies, or to create new ones, you'd best find yourself down a dark alley with no one watching. It just so happens that if you're in a 3,500-pound race car, the best place to go happens to be in plain view of over 150,000 people. And don't try to run, don't try to hide, you'll just find yourself going in circles. This concrete bowl of bent fenders and brutal battles has long been a spectacle, and tonight it kicks off the first round of 5 of the Area Cup Series playoffs. So you better be ready with some brass knuckles and a crass attitude before someone junks your season in pursuit of a championship. There's no better place to brawl than Bristol, Tennessee, to fight in the last great Coliseum. It's 200 laps tonight at the world's fastest half mile, and we'll see whose bloody knuckles seal their ticket to the next round of the playoffs. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Finian DeCuna, Eric Wineland, and Hunter Slappy. Finian, welcome aboard the last great Coliseum. This is the perfect place to settle your score or maybe create a new one.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hey, we just started the playoffs here. This is going to be the first round for the playoffs in all 3 series here, and they're all going to be here at Bristol. And then what a fitting place. You talked about gladiators duking it out at the last great Coliseum. Well, we reduced the amount of gladiators competing for the championship from the 40 eligible for the season down to only 12, and it's only going to get lower as the playoffs go on, and those are the current 12 at the moment. Jake Matheson with the biggest lead coming in from the regular season, and they got the couple drivers that are currently sitting out, but only by a couple points. But hey, all it takes is one bad race to ruin your chance at a championship.
Yeah, especially for the guys at the top, Matheson, Nichols, and to some degree. If you have one bad moment, it's going to cost you big time. And those guys, they can afford it because they have such a big points gap. But you look down the order with, let's see, Beckner, Curran, Cedric Hunter, Matthew Bell, you have no gap to cushion your blow. Not even James Scioli. He's on the outside looking in. He hasn't had a good regular season at all. Good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough on the point side of things, Eric.
Absolutely, but Bristol is one of those racetracks where it's fast and track position plays a big part of the game, but you also got to know how to handle your 3,500-pound stock car, as Kyle put it earlier, around this half-mile racetrack. So an opportunity on a short track to potentially steal a good finish and move yourself up above that cut line for someone like James Scioli. Going to be looking at that tonight as we get a look at our current conditions here in the virtual Bristol, Tennessee area. Kyle, it's nice and warm, but I don't like the cloudy sky.
Well, can't guarantee a rain just yet. Maybe give us a couple more weeks and we'll see some rain here at Bristol, Tennessee. But the weather is, I'd say, a bit warm. 81 degrees in the air, 86 degrees on the racetrack. It's only going to get cooler, though, as the night goes on, Finian, because we're heading into the nighttime. The nighttime is the right time for Bristol racing as qualifying is underway here. You'll note on the left, 3 different colors, white, yellow, and red. Now, there's one color that's completely missing. That would be green. That would signify that a driver has locked themselves into the next round by winning a race, one of 2 races in this round. If you're in the yellow, you're above the cut line coming in. You're in the playoffs. If you're in the red, you're below the cut line. And Finian, you've got work to do as James Scioli puts his number 7 right at the top in the Simrat Market Chevy.
Yeah, especially considering there's a lot of guys near the top of the stands that have a huge points lead coming in, so they have a little bit of a cushion to work with. Guys are out, they're at a deficit, and they have to make sure they perform, because now it's crunch time for the season. If they want that championship by the end of it, they need to perform, need to get a good finish in, as Don DeLeo's coming flying around for his qualifying lap. 2 laps for these drivers here tonight in qualifying, and he will end up in 7th. Taking a look now, Michael Curran, one of our playout drivers, he's flying around turns 3 and 4. Approaching the start-finish line, and he'll be starting one of his laps.
We see the new sign there for Curran, who's had a great regular season to get inside the playoffs. A little bit of that's cut off, but he's asking about everyone's opinion on the Super Bowl halftime show, and he's disappointed that Taylor Swift did not get engaged after the game.
I would have watched for that. That would have been fun. Curran, 129 miles an hour average puts him 8th.
I love his signs. I love that he does that every night here in area. What a second lap, though. Was P2 on the board. Actually, still is P2 on the board. Yeah, my iRacing is still not sorting correctly, but James Scioli, right below the cut, obviously putting himself in a very strong position to start. I am looking forward to the fast speeds tonight, Kyle, because in offline testing, I was watching Tyler Nichols turn some laps, and he almost got sub 14 seconds, which we have not seen at Bristol for quite a while. So iRacing has this place tuned up right now.
Yeah, it's going to be quick tonight. 200 laps is going to go by very, very quickly when your lap times are 14 to 15 seconds long. Of course, there's always the potential for chaos. We've got almost 30 drivers here tonight as Jake Nichols goes up to second place. So staying out of trouble is tricky, Finian, because if a crash happens on one end of the racetrack, you're pretty much on the other side in 5 seconds or less. So you really need to be paying attention to what's up the road. The problem is a lot of times you can't see what's up the road. Look on board here, right on the camera here. You can't see beyond one corner ahead of you. So you're looking at the top of your windshield to see all the carnage, and sometimes that can get you in trouble.
And this isn't even an easier view because this camera's further back. It's got a much bigger field of view that most of these drivers are driving with on their monitors, so they can see even less than what we're looking at on board with them. Taking a look at the number 17 of Evershed Jr. just kind of riding up there, getting some extra practice, and notably half the field is not qualified. Everything's quiet on the racetrack. We got everyone up to 15th putting a time down. Everyone else in behind waiting, I think, for maybe the track to cool down just a little bit more.
And at most we may see another degree or two. I don't expect it to fall a lot more because we're under a mostly cloudy sky here in the sim. So the track's already lost a lot of its temperature that it could possibly have. It's 7:10 in sim time as well. So I don't expect it to lose too much more heat. Though concrete is supposed to be more temperature sensitive than asphalt sometimes. I tend to notice it more so on concrete here on iRacing, Kyle, but nonetheless, it's keeping that 86-degree temperature, so a couple guys are finally deciding to go, except Ryan Hartz didn't like the way he got up to speed.
He hit the wall, actually, on his first lap, so he's resetting.
Connor Horn got his Grid Life shirt on. Love to see that. He is focused tonight in that number 42. 10th place on his first lap. Let's see what he's got on lap number 2. That was very tight to the fence out of turn 2.
Yeah, really tight playing with the walls there, almost got into it. Was just able to keep it off. Was the lap quick, though, is going to be the big question as he comes rocketing across the line. Only quick enough to put him one place up into 10th.
I don't think he was terribly happy with the race car there. You saw how much he was sawing that wheel on the exit of turn 2. A little more snug off of turn 4, but not on the edge of grip tonight, Hunter, as we see Ryan Hartz go P3.
Yeah, he actually has the track record, or I should say had the track record, because it was 2/10 slower now than what we're running. It was a 14.498 the season ago, and third quickest, but the track record is currently at the hands of James Scioli.
Jake Matheson getting up to speed here in the number 56. We'll see what he's got. And whoop, big slip and slide out of turn 2 here. We'll see if he can put himself up on top of the board. And across the stripe, 14.213, good enough for second. That's a good lap.
Really solid lap for him, up to second, only 6,000s off of James Scioli, who's really set the benchmark here. Everyone's gotten close, but not able to surpass the number 7. We still got some guys waiting to qualify. Matthew Bell jumping out on the racetrack. Blaze McKinney jumping out of the racetrack after his surprise win last week. And he's now getting out there, seeing what he can prove. He's been decently quick, not had the consistency this season, but that lucky win at Talladega, he's in the playoffs. He might have something to prove here.
Only one.
Was it Indy?
Yeah, that was at Indy.
Indy, never mind. I'm very forgetful, apparently.
He barely made it through in the wrecks that we had at Talladega.
Yes, that's what I was
top
thinking.
20.
That is what I was thinking of.
By the way,
Is that a burger next to his name?
What now?
Oh, that's a
Wheat burger
reference
guy.
to a YouTuber.
Ah, okay.
I know you guys will talk about it Thursday, but yeah, what a heartbreak for David Weishart. The game crashed mid-wreck, and he didn't get to cross the line to get to the top 20.
It almost reminds me of
really
Justin Munsell getting wrecked by that lap car at Talladega a couple years ago.
I remember that.
He was a shoe-in, and then all of a sudden, bam, day's over. The championship hopes are over. That's how quick things can happen. And that was at the biggest track on the schedule. This is the tiniest track. Everything happens so fast. We'll see what Brad Slaughter can do here in the 83.
See what he can do. Ooh, gets a little bit tight out of turn 4 across the line. Wasn't quick enough. Let's see, 4th. Pretty solid lap for him. Still has one more lap to go. Some drivers a little bit better on the first, some a little bit better on the second. I think he was pushing hard on lap 1. I'm not sure if he's got anything.
Oh, he's too tight.
Gets the wall, so I think it's going to validate either way.
I liked the line. He was the middle of the track, kind of right on the first seam. There are seams here at Bristol. They're hard to see unless you're actually in the cockpit, but as we see Bryce Senesac take probably pretty easy, right?
He's already completed his run, so he's just cooling down. 26th place. That is going to be a tough night. coming from almost the complete back of the field. 4 drivers did not put down any qualifying time. Ray Slade, Ed Robertson, Blake Hopp, and David Weishart. They will all start at the rear of the field. Boy.
Oh, boy, indeed. I don't really want to start behind a lot of cars at Bristol, of all places, but that's just going to lead to a long night ahead for them, long road ahead. But there's a look at the point standings, which we'll be looking at all night long. Just keep an eye on who's going to be moving what. That's going to be updated live time, or I shouldn't say live time, relatively close to live timing, as fast as we can do it manually, because we do not have the budget of Fox or NBC for that matter.
You mean it's Eric's responsibility tonight?
Yes.
You'll see it change right now.
I got my hands full.
As we add the bonus points for 0 incidents.
There you go. Semi-lifetime.
Hey, Blaze McKinney now 1 point below the cut line.
I mean, imagine if we had the budget that Fox had. Oh my God.
Man, wouldn't that be nice? I'll just make sure to
Nice.
charge about
We'd be
$1.8
10
million
times
an hour, and we'll start there.
Oh, hey, do not forget James Scioli bonus point. He's on pole.
Oh, yeah.
That will put him above the cut line by 0 points. And race fans, make sure that you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. The race is just moments away as the checkered flag falls here on the warm-up. And boys, we're headed to a 200-lap race in Bristol, Tennessee. Once the pace laps are up and over, we're going racing. Survival of the fittest. This is one of those fight or flight moments here. You got to run or you got to fight for the chance to get up to the front. This is going to be a fun race, a fun night. This is how fast it can go if it goes green from flag to flag. That's a funny joke. 47 minutes from green to checkered if we go green, Finian, but the chances of that are slim.
Yeah, I think they are pretty slim, but who knows? These guys could surprise us depending on how things play out. Really, it depends if these guys are going to be willing to, feel this race out, or they're going to be gunning it from the get-go, especially the drivers that didn't qualify too well and are closer to the back.
All right, we're going to kick off our starting lineup here, sponsored by HelloFresh. Look and eat healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money. HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie-smart and protein-smart meal options each week. Every meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. What are you waiting for? Click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit today and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. If you're on Twitch, that's HelloFresh. All right, starting lineup. Here we go. Kicking things off, it's James Scioli on that front row. Jake Matheson should be colored yellow. We'll fix that for next week. Those two drivers are on opposite sides of the cut line coming into the night, but Scioli takes that pole point, Finian.
Yeah, and moving on back to row number 2, it's going to be Jake Nichols in the 73 car next to him. Brad Slaughter line up in 4th in the 83.
And starting 5th place, it's Ryan Hartz in the number 3 Chevy Camaro. Mason Kane starts 6th in the number 31.
Moving on back to 7th, it's going to be Connor Kresick in the number 14. Michael Curran starting next to him in the 24 in 8th.
And 9th place will be Blaze McKinney in the number 87. Has some work to do to get above that cut line. Travis Beckner is in, but not locked in the 28.
Back in 11th, it's going to be Jeremy Miller in the number 30 next to him. Seth Knoll line up in the 1 in 12.
And 13th place will be Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Ricky Springer, we've got his on board tonight. We'll ride with him in the number 51 Chevy Camaro.
Back in 15th is going to be Connor Horn. Back in the 42, he's got a little bit of work to move near the front. In 16th, next to him, Justin Isogek in the 67.
And 17th place is Matthew Bell in the number 9. Delonte Ballard starts 18th in the number 21.
Back in 19th is going to be Tyler Nichols in the 41. Next to him, Dom DeLeo in the 22 in 20th.
21st place is Edward Scherer Jr. in the number 17. Cedric Hunter rolls up 22nd in the number 13.
23rd is going to be Douglas Newbing in the 71. Next to him, Justin Bondurant in the number 11 in 24th.
And 25th place will be Garrett Grant in the number 5 Toyota Camry. Bryce Senesac starts 26th in the 09.
27th is going to be Spencer Burns in the 06. Next to him, Casey Laconis in the number 50 in 28th.
And the last couple of rows, 29th, David Weishart in the number 33. And Robertson starts 30th in the number 64.
And moving on back to 31st is going to be Ray Slate and Blake Hopp in the 23, rounding out your field of 32.
Well, that is the entire field here. One more pace lap before we turn everybody loose. Another look at the weather. It has come down a couple of degrees. Still cloudy skies here. You can't hardly see it, all surrounded by the grandstands here in Bristol, Tennessee. But 200 laps and the first of 5 playoff races. Remember that after every 2 races, we eliminate 4 to get down to the last 4 in the championship race in 5 weeks' time.
Speaking of 4, we got to make our picks.
Yeah, real quickly, I'm going to roll with the 56. He's been good all season. He starts on the front row.
For me, I'm going to go...
Not reverse championship order. I'm just going to put that out there for the commentator standings.
That he's in reverse championship order. I'm going to go with 73, Jake Nichols.
Nobody took Matheson. Give me Matheson.
I took Matheson.
Yeah, give me Scioli.
Oh my gosh, you fool. I'm going to go with Slaughter.
All right, here we go. 200 laps at Bristol, the last great Coliseum, and we're racing in the Area Cup Series playoffs. Lap one's done just like that. Across the stripe, Matheson leads Scioli, Nichols to third, and everybody scatters trying to find room to race on this world's fastest half mile.
And they're all really trying to find some place. 3 wide almost for a moment in the middle of the field. Ricky Springer's on the bottom, 3 wide for just a second, and gone back out to 2 wide. And now it's just a matter of just finding your place in line where you feel like running top lane, bottom lane. I have a feeling the top is going to be one of the places to be.
There's Springer cutting the door off from Connor Horn, currently running 15th on the track. Yeah, it's a mixed bag early on. Got some guys around the bottom, some guys running the top, but I feel like later on in the run, we're going to see a lot of people move up to that outside line.
Ricky Springer moving forward in that number 51. He's got the outside lane packed in. Just ahead is Greg Mitchell in the number 2 Ford. Matheson's put 0.3 of a second on. Couple cars scattering in the background here. Edward Scheer Jr. is down on the runoff area, trying to get out of the way. Didn't like how that car came off turn 4.
Yeah, got a little bit loose, and we've seen a lot of times when people keep the car snug on the exit on the inside of turn 4, gas up a little bit too much, that car can get loose. So already see one driver fall at the moment. Here's some battling going on. Not Ricky Springer, Brad Slaughter falling back quickly. He's already back to 11th, started in 4th, had a pretty poor start in general, but he's just been slipping back slowly but surely. I'm wondering, is he trying to be a little bit more conservative on the tires? He's just not feeling out the car.
Could be because they picked him last second. Unfair, early.
Hey, by the way, I caught up in the points, but now that I caught up all of my picks, I'm only a few points behind Finian, so I'm calling that good. Still have 0 wins to my name. I guess consistency is the key. As that's Dom DeLeo in the 22. He's been riding way up next to that outside wall and has effectively gone nowhere. Started 20th, he's running 19th, but making me nervous with how close he is to that outside fence.
Yeah, he's trying to use up, get that really solid run off the corner. Of course, it's a big trade-off because you lose a lot of speed running up the hill like that in the apexing lane, so it's a big trade-off here. That's what you love to see with multiple lanes in use, and we're seeing a bunch of guys up near the bottom, up near the middle, up near the top, just trying to find some sort of speed down the field all the way up near the top, though.
Looking through the top 10, Beckner and Knoll are the biggest movers of the race, as Beckner is the biggest one so far. Actually, it's Knoll up 5, Beckner up 4. Guys in the playoffs needing a solid run. As we look a little further back outside the top 10, Blaze McKinney, another playoff driver, currently fighting Delonte Ballard for the 15th spot.
Another driver that's dropped backwards very quickly and not like in the direction that he's going. And some of the drivers that didn't qualify very well, like the 09 of Senesac, he hasn't gone anywhere either. Started 26th and still has all that work to do. Not really contending for the playoffs, not contending for a championship, but these can be long days here at Bristol when you start almost dead last and have to fight your way through. These races might be short in duration, but Finian, they wear you out mentally.
Oh, they really will, especially depending on how long the runs last. Of course, we got 200 laps here tonight. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's going to feel like a whole lot, especially when you're in such a tight pack like this. Nose to tail, trying to find some sort of way around, constantly too wide. It does really wear you out mentally.
Yeah, but the good thing about Bristol is that whenever we get these long green flag runs, guys are getting in their rhythm, getting in pace, as Slaughter almost had Matthew Bell to the outside. As Springer's looking low, got the Fazekas guys on his outside, Curran and Mitchell.
And up the road, Seth Knoll, the number 1, Mason Kane doing battle. That was for 5th. Give the 5th spot to that number 1 car. All the while, Matheson is leading, but Jake Nichols is starting to run him down, Finian.
Really starting to run him down and approach and trying to make a move. Was able to get past James Scully, now working to see if he can get past 56 for the lead. And we know if there's anyone as good as saving tires as the 73 car. And he saves tires in a way where he's still fast. He's not reducing his pace. He's just running a lot better. So he's definitely a threat on the long run, but he's going to look high immediately. You see Matheson, though, defending the bottom lane.
Good run off the corner for Nichols, though. Not going to be able to do anything with it. It's just going to tuck up behind the bumper of Matheson. He won here in Season 3. Looking to become a 2-time winner here at the last great Coliseum.
Pressure mounting for Jake Matheson as he tries to keep the 73 behind him. These two have been nip and tuck all season long. A little bit of a throttle lift there out of turn 4 as battles have subsided up here for now, but between Greg Mitchell, Brad Slaughter, and Ricky Springer, there's enough action back here for everybody.
I think they're going to be arguing too much action. We want to get a little bit of a breather at some point, right? You know, get into that rhythm, find that place on line. Whoa, Michael Curran, a little bit of a slip to the inside of the number 2. He's going to lose 1, maybe 2 spots. Brad Slaughter coming back on the outside will sail past the number 24. Here comes Ricky Springer now taking a turn for the lead. Jake Nichols getting past Jake Matheson.
That happened fast. Let's have a look. Tim Rapp Market replay and just gets a really good run out of turn 4, and it's going to go up to the high side here in 1 and 2 and sets him up for a run down the backstretch.
Yeah, just ran that middle lane, you know, getting the best of both worlds, running a little bit of shorter way around, and also getting that run off the corner, and then kept side by side. And once you get to that outside, when you're when you're by yourself in an isolated group, I think that really helps to be on that outside and make that move. So he's up into the lead. So can he run away with it?
Well, keeping it in the Nichols family, looking here, Kyler Nichols up to 12th, one of the biggest movers of the race. He's tied with teammate Seth Knoll, plus 7 spots since the start of this one.
Moving forward nicely. It's behind a Matthew Bell, who is a playoff competitor. The yellow coloration telling him that he is above the cut line coming into the night. If you're red, you're below the cut line. And next week we'll have at least, well, one driver at least will be green, assuming that a playoff competitor wins the race. That's the only way you can lock yourself into the next round.
Go for second.
As Matheson's now dropping a spot to Scioli.
And Scioli caught him sleeping in turns 1 and 2, got a great run. I think it's just, again, a lot of it's going to come down to that setup. You have to set up a couple corners prior to then get a run and be able to move to that outside. And I wonder if this is also maybe Matheson pushing a little bit too hard early on, and now he's starting to pay a little bit of that price.
There's Beckner still on the climb up, although he's been losing a couple of spots here and there. Looks like the outside lane's really starting to kick in the gear, and guys on the bottom just not able to do anything.
Yeah, Travis is one of those drivers that I'd be cautious about late in the race on a green-white checkered. Look at the focus he's got on his face right now. He is not shy and won't hesitate to knock you out of the lane to make the move. We've seen it in the past at big tracks. Give him a small track and an excuse, and it won't take very long.
Seth Knoll looking at as you see the 20 go to the inside. He's been setting up a run on Ryan Hartz. He's on his bumper. Just trying to see if he can get away past him. Greg Mitchell, too. Also, he's been making some slow progress forward, so this 2 car may be one to watch as well, even though he's not in the playoffs. He's got a quick car tonight.
Also up 7 spots since the start of this one, as he's now on the outside. Nope, the door is shut from the one of Knoll, as now he's going to be able to have a run on the outside of Knoll. No, still not going to have big enough of a run.
I think a common crash here is trying to shoot that gap on the outside, leaving a corner right here. Seth Knoll could close that, but he didn't have time to, and Mitchell jams the 2 car up the outside lane and has overlap there. He'll almost certainly complete this pass now. As the race goes on, I expect that upper lane to get better and better as it rubbers in. Sometimes the bottom, right after restart, you can make passes, Finian, but that outside lane is a preferred line for sure.
Yeah, and I imagine for Noel that was really frustrating because he's trying to work up the number 3, had a solid chance to get by, but then Greg Mitchell's in his mirror constantly making moves. He had to make a choice between making a pass and defending, and actually might get past again now as we're riding on board Ricky Springer. He's trying to get past the number 1 is Seth Noel, also defending from Brad Slaughter in behind. Almost essentially a 3-way battle here for 4th place. Sorry, 5-way battle for 4th place.
Quite a climb to the top here for Springer. Start all the way back in 14th belt. Also up 7 spots. A lot of guys up 7 spots or so since the start of this one.
Battle deeper in the field. Delonte Ballard and Mason Kane, both in cyan and white tonight. At least Delante's got a highlighter green roof number to help for the virtual spotter this evening. And whoa, big spin.
Still got around.
Oh.
Caution out as he gets
Newbegin
drilled in the door by Douglas Newbegin in the 71. He'll pull away.
Looked like Blaze McKinney got into the 67 there.
Here's a look at it. Was right behind the 06 of Spencer Burns, and I think he's going to get some assistance from the 87 right here, middle of the corner. They're going to get kind of 3 wide here, and I don't know that he touched him to start the spin, but he certainly got into him at the end. Bam! Gets drilled.
There's some net code contact initially that sent him back into the 87. It's kind of hard to see. Right there, you see him get turned by a Phantom, and then gets finished off with the actual car. And then you see Douglas Newbegin nowhere for him to go. He gets the door.
much that Newbegin could have done about this. This is what I was talking about earlier. Incidents happen, and then they stop, and bam, you're in it before you can even look up.
Yeah, he jumped on the brakes as soon as he could, but by that point it was too late, unfortunately. So he's going to have to sit on pit road and fix the nose of that car.
All right, what do we think about
Interesting
pit
to note
stops?
that
Whoa.
still. Oh, yeah, I did not expect this.
I did not either. Interesting.
Nichols is a lonely man staying out on the racetrack. Everybody else, except for Delonte Ballard, comes to pit lane.
Well, I mean, they are going to still have to make one more pit stop, if I'm not mistaken, right before the end of the race. So I guess he's figuring, okay, there's definitely no way we're going to be going green till the end of this race, so he's going to be staying out. But we'll get in some official word as we got Eric Weiland here in the booth as you got guys coming down to you on pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely have that Eric action. I heard what you were getting ready to say there, Finian. Going to be 4 tires and fuel. You're going to see that up and down pit road right here. Get a good first test of how the tires just worked out on that first stint. I was talking to was Lucky Duck Motorsports and your leader, James Scioli, right there. The entire crew there feels that the new dynamic track model, that adjustment that happened in the latest build, is really coming into effect here at Bristol. How the bottom line really started to heat up right off that initial stint of the race. The track temperature up to 90 degrees, down to 88 now that we're under yellow. So expect the lines to move around tonight. The bottom got heated up. They all moved up a lane all the way up to the wall. And as they run on older tires and heat the top up, expect the bottom to come back into play later on.
You can see the track rubbering up. The dark coloration has moved all the way up about 3 or 4 feet off the wall and all the way down to the asphalt apron down there. So the track is widening out, and that's going to give drivers the opportunity to use more of the racetrack as the night goes on. So a handful of other drivers stayed out as well. So Nichols, Ballard, Newbegin, Cedric Hunter all stayed out. Garrett Grant stayed out but then hit pit lane. And on the left-hand side of the screen, those that made pit stops versus those that have not. Almost everybody did.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you got 2 cars from Solar Flare staying out and 2 cars from Lucky Duck staying out on the racetrack. So interesting change up in the lineup near the front. Well, I mean, Jack Nichols still later, but now got Ballard, Newbegin, and Cedric Hunter. Bit surprised with Douglas Newbegin staying up near the front because he got damage to his car, but I guess he's feeling the damage. Not going to be much of a threat or an issue. Just continue out there. I mean, I'm not.
It's Bristol. They'll all look like this by the end of the night.
It's a short track, so you don't need to. So, you know.
That'll be a good-looking car by the end of the night, probably. I'm actually impressed. 40 laps before a spin, and that was kind of a mild crash, if that.
Oh,
we know things will
heat
heat
up.
I know, but it was going to happen anyway. You knew that. One thing I wanted to know, look at the marbles on the entrance to turn 3, and then the entrance to turn 1. Very different from one end to the other. This track might look symmetrical, but it is not. Pace cars off. Lap 42 of 200. Let's restart things here at Bristol. Green flag back in the air. Jake Nichols fires off and away.
Off and away he goes. We'll see how much he can continue. It wasn't leading at the start initially. Now we'll be leading on this restart and see if he can scamper away as he go 3 wide for second in behind. This is going to get interesting.
Oh, that's the Newbegin in the 71 who still has damage on the front of his car.
2 cars hard in the wall.
Mitchell
Mitchell
on the wall.
slammed the right side, but he's going to keep rolling, and 3 wide now with Beckner in the middle.
Yeah, you do not want to be stuck in the middle 3 wide. It's just a dangerous situation to be in. For Beckner's going to get squeezed again. We'll get past Newbegin on the bottom, so back 2 wide. Can now kind of try to sort himself out with Greg Mitchell. As they're all still fighting for position way back down the order as well.
Springer's stuck behind the slow 71 after being caught up in that crash. He's just been anchored on that bottom.
Using every inch of the road. Points have been updated right side of the screen. Jake Nichols would lock himself into the next round with a win. Cut line is shifted. Scioli, where he's running, is above the cut line. Matthew Bell, Miller, McKinney, and Lakatos out for the time being.
Springer had a big moment off turn 4 just then. Keeps it straight.
Everyone vying for a position at the moment. A very hectic restart here. As people are feeling now, well, the fresh tires want to use it up as much as possible.
13's in the wall with problems, as Rick Allen would say, but he is out, or now down to 29.
He's back in. He's in the wall. I think was trying to stay out of the way. But he is back on the racetrack. I think his internet is all stabilized. That was part of the issue.
Some Walmart connect there.
29.
Here's Matheson in the 56 going to the high side of Seth Nolan. Might go to the bottom of the 73. Nichols trying to hang on 48 lap old tires. See if this strategy works out for him, but I just get worried about getting buried.
He's getting freight train. Got passed by Scioli pretty quickly. Seth Knoll working his way on by Matheson. Now Jake Nichols are getting passed by Ryan Hart. And Beckner is lining up to have a turn to get past 73.
Well, almost 3 wide in the back heading into the turn. That's a moment there for Delonte Ballard. He's still dropping back.
And Weishart's back here as well.
And who would have thought next-gen car you would actually see some tire wear matter?
Yeah, there was, what race was it a couple of weeks ago? Was it Indianapolis? Where it finally you saw some tires actually wearing? At the road courses, you could just use the same tires for 500 laps. It didn't seem to matter.
Ooh, yeah, also makes you wonder why Goodyear is not supplying all the endurance tires for every series with the way they perform in the next-gen car in iRacing. With David Weiser riding on board, hanging on here at 18th in the middle of the pack.
Goodyear had tires on the Flintstones cars. How hard as a rock they were. Big slide for Spencer Burns. Holy cow.
Last week's winner at Talladega just had a huge moment off turn 4.
Just save it. Again, that inside line, you just get up a little bit too much off turn 4. It almost ends you around, but he'll continue on in 19th.
Travis Beckner working over Seth Knoll now here for 3rd.
It's a big battle for 3rd place, essentially, as Matheson, he's under attack by Seth Knoll and Beckner in behind. Brad Slaughter, Ryan Hartz, they're racing it out right in behind these guys.
Yeah, Hartz was also a little wiggly coming off turn 4 just then, and coming up the climb back for Slaughter. He dropped all the way down to 11th after the initial start and has made his climb back inside the top 5, but just got the door shut by Seth Knoll.
Now that was a knock, and next time he's breaking in before asking. No doorbell ringing here.
And Slaughter going to try to work around the outside of Seth Knoll. Going to run down the front straightaway. Will make the move into turn 1. He's up into 4th, and we got Eric Weiland with us. Eric, what do you got?
Hey guys, the strategy call for Cedric Hunter obviously did not work out. First of all, now 15 points below the cut line as we are currently sitting on the racetrack to listen into what he had to say about what happened.
Oh my God. As soon as it happened, my screen froze. I got on the brakes a little bit because I figured I was going to blink out, and I didn't want to blink in the middle of the field. So I got on the brakes, and it put me back way in the back over here.
Oh, in the live view, 13 around.
Oh, he's wrecking.
Had some more issues, and he's caused a caution.
Oh, Jeremy Miller.
30, and I thought I saw almost someone else spin around.
Seth Knoll has just lost his bonus point for an 0x race as well.
That was probably the incident in front.
Yeah, he was involved in it.
So second caution of the night, lap 60. Cedric Hunter goes for a spin, and he'd been having connectivity problems, and you see it here. Well, we're going to come back in. He's probably already going to be crashing in turn 1. Yep, just already slow and just kind of gets run over. Brian Hartz is in it, and we see the 22.
The other thing, Kyle, that he mentioned before I started recording his audio there was that his screen was freezing. So it very well could have been a hardware issue. I know Bristol was pretty tough on
honestly,
our PCs, especially when it starts loading all the physics that's going on. Oh, Jeremy Miller with a big hit too.
Honestly, I've also been having issues with iRacing freezing at some random points. Yeah, no, in the last couple weeks or so. I don't know if it was after a certain patch or what, but I've been having some issues. Not been affecting me in the racing, but when I'm in spectating certain sessions, I've noticed it.
Oh.
Yeah, the 22 and 1 were in this. You see the damage to the nose of the 22. And then Jeremy Miller also got involved. So that was probably 6 or 7 cars that got a piece of that at some point. Leo's going to hit pit lane. I don't think a lot of others have.
The group that stayed out the first time around, so Jake Nichols, for example, has come down pit road, as well as Justin Anasogiak, Delonte Ballard, David Weishart, and those on back there. Casey Licata is also on pit road. He needs something to happen. Casey has not gotten out of 28th to 30th all race long, so the 50 car is going to need to make something happen because he's starting to run himself out of time. 138 to go, Kyle. And as you said, these laps tick off quick.
They do, and we clipped off the first, 38 laps or so in what felt like 10 minutes. So they can go by very, very fast. Lakatos, though, his strategy has always been to kind of play the alternate card. And I'd expect later in this race for him to start trying some things. If everyone pits, he'll stay out, that sort of thing. I don't know that he got here by being consistent. It seems like he got here because he threw some things at the wall a couple times, and some of them stuck. So It either is going to happen or it's not, and I don't know that Lakatos has got consistent pace to make it much past the first round of the playoffs, but I've been proven wrong before, and we'll see what he can do.
Hey, I mean, is there anywhere to kind of throw something at the wall and hope it sticks? It would be Bristol. So
well, everyone's going to hit the wall. I just don't know that many are going to stick to it tonight.
So see how it plays out. He's going to probably have to rely on some unorthodox strategy to get himself some solid points, because a lot of his other competitors are really quick tonight up near the front of the field.
Well, not to mention, on the outside looking in, he's the only one that hasn't gotten into any carnage. First Yellow, Blaze McKinney, and then Sogak, and then just recently, Cedric Hunter having connectivity issues, and Jeremy Miller getting into him.
Yeah, staying out of trouble's hard here. Get the one to green, double up behind the pace car again.
Two of those guys were below the cut, and it may make Jeremy Miller's night longer. Currently 6 below.
We'll see how things pan out. Field doubles back up again. 2 drivers out. Cedric Hunter is one of them, and Garrett Grant is the other. The other 29 cars still running and rolling, all in the lead lap.
Yeah, actually, Garrett Grant was disqualified. I don't know from what or by what.
Yeah, that's interesting, because he did start the race. He made it to lap 48.
Yeah. So I don't know what caused that. I'll look into that as we get ready to go green.
Lap 65, good launch from Scioli on the outside in the restart zone, and immediately clears the field, and we're back underway. But after these restarts, after the initial launch, people get a lot more aggressive, Hunter, than they did initially.
Oh, absolutely, and especially if you're second, restarting in the second spot, because if you're the leader, you can have all free reign that you want, especially where the restart zone is. You see Mitchell duking it out with Noel on the track for 6th.
Noel's going to drop to the bottom here. Hunter Opresic rocking a new livery here tonight. Apex Racing on the quarter panel. He's going to jump up to the high side and try to drive around the Ford on the bottom. And Jeremy Miller, with that damage from that previous crash, doesn't seem to be too concerned about it, and I wouldn't be either. I don't think a minor impact like that's going to hurt you a lot. You could probably take a pretty major impact before your night is going to be put in jeopardy here.
Yeah, I would think so, but going to be riding on board with him here. Ooh, it's a massive run off of the corner. Had nowhere to go because the 2 is in the way. And then now riding on board. Ooh, do we have caution?
And we do, and it is Douglas Newbigging and Delonte Ballard potentially.
I think so. They look slowing off pace.
What happened at the back of the field? Let's have a look at it. Delonte's up the road here and just spins out.
And then right across the 09 of Senesac, too.
I thought Newbigging was involved, but he was not. He was just behind the field. Just drops off the high side, and Senesac finishes him off. Puts him in the wall. So simple wreck, we'll just have just one driver involved in that one. I don't think we'll see pit stops here unless you think you can make it and you're just going to drop to pit lane and go for it. Eric Wineland's on pit lane. What you got?
No, I'm not expecting anyone to come down for a pit stop here. We literally just got back to green, and then we had a quick spin. So I did want to clarify for Finian, the Garrett Grant EQ happened because of improper pit exit. Yeah. Not once, not twice, but thrice.
Oh really? 3 times? I saw once.
He repeated it 2 more times before he finally got off pit road, and then thought, screw it, I'm DQ'd, did a couple donuts, and left the server. so
just for reference, go ahead.
He drove over the blue line, which I don't know why he wouldn't have been prompted by, I mean, I imagine he was prompted by iRacing. That was problem number 1. Then he did it again and again.
Fool me once.
I don't know what the point was.
So for the longest time, let me just explain this for those that don't have experience with this. The longest time in iRacing, the pit lanes were always treated completely separately, whether it was cautions or not. The rule in real life is that under caution, you treat pit lane as one giant pit lane because it's split into 2. See the different pit lanes here? The rule in real life is under yellow, you treat the pit lane as 1. You enter off of turn 2, you come down pit lane, you go around the apron in 3 and 4, come down the front straightaway, and then you can leave and depart. Under green flag conditions, you can pit on just the side that your pit stall is on. A couple of years ago, iRacing added another version of the racetrack here in iRacing because they don't have that complex rule. It was dual pit lanes all the time. Now you have the option of selecting pit lane to always be the big one or always be the split ones, but not both. So you'll see in 1 and 2, you can merge right up onto the racetrack. In 3 and 4, there's that blue painted line. You have to stay below that. But this is a relatively new thing. For many years in iRacing, they were just treated as dual pit lanes, and that was a very confusing time when it was switched back over to having this single pit lane. So I could see how you could do it once and not understand what you did and keep doing it, and then get yourself penalized and DQ'd.
I mean, you say it was changed relatively soon. It was changed, 4 years ago?
Well, yeah, but
almost 4 years ago now?
iRacing's an old game.
I was going to say, I guess Forza have it. I mean, I can't entirely blame him, but yeah, that's unfortunate because I saw that he exited one time. I wasn't sure that was just the one and only time. I'm surprised he did it 3 times. But yeah, it's unfortunate. He's going to be the first triree. Center Country, he's also left the session, either I think just due to hardware issues. So he's going to be out. Going to be one of the first playoff drivers out, all the way down to 30th. He's going to be in a big hole going into next week.
That's
Currently,
a must-win hole.
Currently 19 below. It's not impossible, but I would say nigh on impossible.
That's cold. 19 below.
It's going to be cold for me. I got a winter storm rolling in tomorrow.
Boy.
Yep, under that warning.
Boys of the Northeast. Here we go. Lap 74 of 200. Going to go back to green for the 4th time tonight. Green flag back in the air. Scioli leads him down again.
Solid run off of turn 2 for both of them. A little bit more chaotic in behind. Ricky Springer in the 51 up on top, fighting it out, and then further back down the order again. Still a whole lot of side-by-side action. These restarts have been getting more and more hectic, it seems.
Up front, Matthew Bell making the climb inside the top 5, getting around 83 of Slaughter as he's slotted right in front of the 51 of Springer, and behind them they're duking it out for 8th.
Yeah, Finney, you mentioned the intensity picking up. Well, it's because the laps are really, really fast here, and it's just amazing. If this race goes green, we're done in 30 minutes. That's how fast things can go. But I told you the race would take 47 minutes total at the drop of the green if it went green. Well, that was about 40 minutes ago. So the cautions slow things down quite a bit. But if the race goes green, you don't have time to play around, as Okresic gets a hello wake-up call from the 3 of Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, Connor Okresic, he's been struggling in that bottom lane, almost wiped up into the number 30, causing a wreck, but he's able to save that car getting loose, but he's been hounded by the number 3, Ryan Hartz in behind. He wants to get going. He keeps losing positions, being stuck in by the 14 on the bottom.
Hartz keeps bumping on the doors. Bondurantsto is outside, and now looking on the outside of Okresic, and he's going to try and shut the door on him, almost create an incident.
Okresic is making that 14 very wide. Remember that thing about bloody knuckles and brawls and fighting? I think we're about to see that back here for 14th place.
And he's going to fight out for no matter what position's on the line as they continue off into 3 and 4 now. It's going to be Hartz on the bottom, Okresic up on top, trying to get on by. And for Hartz, I think he's just trying to find some sort of place in line, at least get to the top side, because otherwise he still feels like he's losing out. And David Weishart looking to his inside, the number 3.
Start from back in 29th, has made the climb up 13 spots, but is fighting a loose race car as Nichols goes past him on the outside.
Yeah, you can see the counter steer on corner exit, just struggling with it on the bottom. Big right hand steering there, leaving turn 2, and then big dive into 3. Turns down the track, and Hart's struggling, but that bottom lane is so hard to keep momentum rolling, and Weishart's going the wrong direction.
He's going the wrong direction until he can get up on top. There's Blaze McKinney in the number 87 car in 17. Trying to roll that high side, and finally Weiser gets a place in line.
That's where Burns drops to the bottom, you fool.
Those are the last 2 race winners in the Cup Series, side by side on the track.
I guess
Whoa, and Burns, oh my goodness, another moment off turn 4.
Very tight. Up front, Scioli Matheson 2/10 apart. And Travis Beckner has made his way up into 3rd and continues to be a threat. All the while, Connor Horn working his way by Jake Nichols, or vice versa. I think Nichols has got slightly fresher tires, but is on the bottom of the track, as Horn now has Mason Kane hounding him in that cyan and white car.
I think he was just able to shoot on by the 31. Up ahead, Jake Nichols trying to work past Jeremy Miller on the bottom, where we've not seen many passes, but he'll get it done right there, 1 and 2. Solid pass for him. He's up into 9th.
Yeah, he's made a steady climb up inside the top 10 since this restart. He's now looking underneath Mitchell for the 8th spot on the track, and it might have enough of a run to clear him. Nope, not going to be enough this time, maybe through 3 and 4.
Mitchell not going to concede this just yet. Going to drive up the outside lane. A little feisty further up the road. How about Matthew Bell is having a quiet night, Finian, but he's running well. That is good news for the number 9, who comes in above the cut line in that yellow box, yellow number box. But nothing's guaranteed, so the closer you can get to the front, the better off you are.
They're trying to see if he can make a move up on the top lane, but Bell has been a solid climb forward, up 12 spots from 17th. And he's now fighting out there with the big dogs and might be there to stay. We'll see what he can do. He's been fairly quiet this season so far. 0 top 5s and 5 top 10s. Trying to see if he can change that here now that he's in the playoffs, and now it's go time this season. As you look further back, this is a giant mess of cars right here.
It sure is. Behind Connor Horn, it is a mess back here. Connor Kresick, Mason Kane, David Weishart, Justin Bondurant. He is the cork in the bottle if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, now they're all trying to get away from him as much as fast as possible. Jeremy Miller stuck on the bottom, 3 wide for a second. Connor Kresick shooting through the middle. This can get ugly. And David Weishart also in the middle, 3 wide for a second. He has to back off.
This has the recipe. I almost said recipe. That was what I was supposed to say. Oh, no, it's getting bad. Oh, Weishart almost had an incident as these guys are trying to work it out.
This is the recipe for disaster. It is a spicy one.
There we go. David Weishart going to the inside of Jeremy Miller, 3 wide again.
The tongue hanging out. He is working hard right now.
And he was able to get on by, so it worked out for him. Now here goes Douglas Dubé. Now he's trying to work around the inside of the 3. Everyone wants to get past Jeremy Miller.
Wise man once said recipe. That's the word I was trying to come up with, but it's actually recipe. Weishart gonna try and close in, but you see the tongue hanging out.
I love that. You really get a good perspective of how hard drivers are working and how pumped they get and how upset they get. Have a look at the points picture again as we are working lap 97, almost a halfway in this race. Jeremy Miller with where he's running on the racetrack in 21st. He's now below the cut line, and that gives Michael Curhan a new lease on life up there, currently in by 3 points.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Jeremy Miller is dropping so far back. He seemed to be pretty quick early on, at least quick to be inside top 10, top 15, approaching the top 10. And now it's kind of really fallen off the page, seeing that reflecting in the point standings now that he's kind of been kicked on out, and everyone else that's essentially in running pretty well. In fact, most of the drivers running well inside the top 5 or top 6. You can see we got, what, 6 drivers, 6 playoff drivers in the top 10?
Yes, sure do.
7 actually, sorry.
7 is Madison, yeah. Thought he was 52. Made that mistake last week, but Finian caught it. And this week, I made it again.
Why do you think he's the 52?
I don't know. Something in my brain. Maybe it's all the stupid I got packed between my ears. Here's Spencer Burns in the 06. Delonte Ballard on the bottom, and the aforementioned Jeremy Miller. Now, I didn't think that damage was hurting him, and I still don't think that. But he needs to find some track position, guys, and we're past halfway and quickly eating into those last 100 laps. Oh, I was told that he's 52 in the trucks. We need to get everyone on the same page.
Oh, Tyler Nichols straight for the wall.
Yeah, he's still bouncing off it there in the background, isn't he? Bryce Senesac still trying to recover his day. Loosely involved in that previous collision. I don't think he has any real damage to speak of, but didn't help. 41 bounced off the fence again. It is a fight to the bottom here, back here, isn't it? They're 2 and 3 wide, fighting for 27th.
Yeah, one update up near the front of the field. Jake Nichols got past Jake Matheson for 2nd place and got by pretty quickly. So that 73, he's trying to charge on forward up to the lead. Might have a battle potentially between the leaders soon because no one's really stopping that 73 car.
Finian, the comment from the David Weishart Racing camp was, "Wow, tires matter." He effing blew past me is what David's quotes was. I don't have the, I didn't have the bleep ready to go, so I couldn't replay it for you guys to hear. But he said Jake Nichols blew by him and the rest of them up there, and he would not be, Brad would not be surprised to see Jake in the lead very shortly. I'm surprised though, Hunter, because I didn't think tires would matter that much, but we are over a second fall off from our fastest laps.
Yeah, interesting to see that, as this is a concrete track. There would be a little bit more wear and tear if it was a pavement track, but yeah, kind of shocked there, especially with the next-gen car. As there's the 41 still fighting on the racetrack, trying to keep that car going as he scraped the wall.
Oh, 22!
Don't touch him! Oh, and they're going to split him 3 wide. That's Blake Hoppin and Sogak, and Delia's going to be in the wall with Robertson behind him, and Lakatos gets a front row view for all of us.
Well, that was a tough moment there.
These guys are fighting really hard. This is about for 25th. These are the last guys on the lead lap, essentially. They're duking it out.
They need to fight this hard because soon they're going to go a lap down. I mean, not that soon, but soon-ish. They need to fight to stay ahead of James Scioli, who's quickly approaching. So you don't want to be the first car to get caught by the leader and then get trapped laps down. That is not a fun way to race at Bristol. So this is a pretty fierce fight, but the 22 is just absolutely abusing the right front of that car. It is not going to last like this.
Yeah, so one driver was surprised to fall down the orders. Greg Mitchell, he's been dropping back like a rock. He's back in now 17th, almost 18th as Ryan Art's trying to get past him. Almost a little bit of contact between these two. Greg Mitchell only about 10, 20 laps ago was running in 9th up inside the top 10. So he's really fallen back pretty hard, almost as fast as Jeremy Miller. So another surprise drop in performance.
And, you know, Hunter, you brought up the tire situation that, you know, yes, it's a concrete racetrack. You're going to see wear, but you also brought up that it's a next-gen car. And the reason we point that out is, you know, maybe this is true in the real world, but especially in iRacing, these tires on these cars have just worn like rocks. You can run them for 50, 100 laps and they don't seem to care. And it's all come down to really fuel strategy versus the tires. But at a couple of tracks, Indianapolis and this one in particular, they've caught drivers off guard by how much they're wearing out. Could be the surface, could be the temperatures, could be a lot of things, but a lot of it is just how much load is going on the tires, which here is a lot. Look at this mess.
Oh my gosh!
Right on board with James Scioli, and look what he's got to deal with.
They're beating and banging like pinballs in front of him.
And look at all the cars in front of him. That's about 10 cars in that group. And he's just looking there, oh boy, I got to get past them. And he's got Jake Nichols breathing down his neck.
I was about to say Nichols has caught up to him, and right at the most inopportune time for the leader as that lap traffic getting bigger and bigger in the windshield of the 7.
He's going to wish he had headlights to flash, actual headlights to flash, or like a horn or something, because he wants these guys to get out of the way as fast as possible. Oh, they're 3 wide ahead of them, too.
You might need to flash a gang sign to get through this brawl. This is wild.
Going 3 wide there for a second with the 41 in the middle of all that.
Oh, this is just pandemonium. You hate this as a leader of a Bristol race, but this is almost inevitable at some point. 80 laps to go.
Pick the top, it's slow. Pick the bottom, it's slow. Oh, Jake Nichols trying to work his way on by on the bottom. Here he goes with the dive to the inside, battle for the lead amongst 10 different lap cars in front of him.
Yeah, not to mention these guys, they don't want to go a lap down either, so they're going to try and fight for everything that they can. They're in the wall in front of them. That was Mason Kane, and another driver in front of them, can't tell. But they're side by side for the lead here in this big wad of cars.
Where do you go? What line do you choose? It's going to come down to the luck of the draw. 3 wide for a moment. Scioli sticks the nose up the inside. Remember, he's below the cut line. He can't afford to be reckless here, Finian. He's got to play this smart, but he's got to go, and through the middle he goes.
Oh boy, it's really a matter, you know, do you pick the bottom lane, do you pick the top lane? The answer to that is yes. Essentially, you really just got to go with what, find the lane that's moving, and what's got the less traffic and what's least chaotic, and then just got to pick and choose and just kind of hope and pray for the best, because you never quite know what these drivers up ahead are going to do.
I'll say these guys might want to get on the outside lane because Kane's been in the wall, and I think Spencer Burns might have clipped it a couple of times, but they still have the 64 Robertson to get around. They might have to make it 3 wide in order to do so. Here comes Nichols, get a pass for the lead.
He's got it, and Seth Knowles here as well. He's joined the party.
We got one surprise driver on pit lane. Ricky Springer's come on down.
Oh, this is just the worst. So there goes the one by Scioli. Now he has just been trapped up there. Contact with the 31 of Mason Kane sends him to the outside wall. Patience is out. He's dropped 2 spots in 2 laps.
It's really starting to kick up here, and it looks like just as they get on through, Jake Nichols is finally out of the chaos for now.
He's got fresher tires than everybody else here too, including Seth Knoll, who's running back down, but 20 lap fresher Goodyear's on the Jake Nichols car.
Well, I don't think Seth Knoll's going to do anything too crazy. Remember, these two are teammates, so you don't want to ruffle up too many feathers, because now they're sitting 1 and 2, so really solid run for both of them. Nichols on through. Jake Matheson is just about also through the carnage, and he's actually technically able to gain time, as the 73 and the 7 pretty much paved the way on through for a lot of the other leaders to get on through the lap traffic. So, as I mentioned through that chaos, Ricky Springer had come on down to pit lane and is now back out there on the racetrack. And that was, I believe, a scheduled stop for him.
Could be interesting if this goes green to the end, but I can't see it going green another 10 laps or so.
Here's the issue. He is 3 laps down at the moment, and I'm hearing now David Weiser, he's also coming down on the radio.
Green flag pit stops at Bristol. It has to have been years since we've seen that, Finian. I was going to say this race has been going very well. Exciting and thrilling, and a lot of green flag running.
That means that a caution's going to come out.
We had a car pit under green, so I'm going to call that green flag pit stops.
Yeah, the cycle is starting, and then we got a couple guys coming out. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to have to pit. We got guys almost 90 laps on their tires, and that's also 90 laps of fuel as well. So they're going to have to come down and make one pit stop. But yeah, it has been a very long time since you've seen green flag pit stops here at Bristol, if anything.
Delonte Ballard with the face cam tonight. We're running just a hair outside the top 10, fighting for that 11th spot.
Squeezing up the inside all the while. Seth Knoll has jumped to the outside of Jake Nichols and takes the lead away through traffic here. It's all about picking and choosing and maybe thinking 3 moves ahead. Skyley's run Nichols back down in the traffic, but Seth Knoll, no fear. He's going to drive right through the middle of everybody.
Well, how about Travis Beckner? I see him. He's also going in the middle, 3 wide in traffic as well. He's trying to get past Connor Horn as well as a lap car, and he was able to skate his way on by. Now trying to go 3 wide again.
These two have a history too. Oh, trouble!
Oh, no!
Connor Horn up into the fence, gets clobbered.
Oh.
Caution is
not out.
Not out. Oh, that is
wow.
catastrophic for Connor Horn. Not what he needed at all. Oh, that is going to be a big deal.
Wow. Well, I just hope word gets to him that was not intentional from the 28 at all.
Good luck convincing him that at Bristol. Eric Wineland, what you got for us? Eric Wineland.
Hey guys, sorry, I was caught up in watching what the heck just happened on my screen.
Caution out.
Hang on, we got a yellow on the racetrack now, finally.
And that will save the 42, the 06.
I don't think he can steer.
No, I don't think he can either. He's just grinding that thing along the apron. You see the left and right front are destroyed. I think you're right.
He's apologizing on the radio, right, Finian?
Yeah, he is apologizing. Some drivers, notably Ricky Springer, are really annoyed. A caution came out. And this is all because of the damage that he got right here after Connor Horn was trying to do his best to save it. Nothing he could do, went flying into Spencer Burns. And that 06 could not steer his car, and severe damage to the left front.
I wonder if iRacing logic got fooled right here because there were cars running the apron to avoid the incident, and it didn't trigger the yellow.
You could be right about that. I don't know if the 42 got sideways enough, though. It never was. Oh, that's pretty sideways there, isn't it?
The cars behind are going to the apron. They're coming off the racing surface, so...
Yeah, all Connor sees,
I believe
though.
it may have fooled the logic of iRacing. I was coming up to talk to you guys about Ricky Springer and what his spotters, Dylan Lee, had to say about his plan.
He's got a whopper of a plan.
About pitting early, trying to make it work with green flag stops. Obviously, we saw that did not come to fruition. Ricky said the one thing he didn't want to happen was someone in the mid-pack deciding to lose it. And, well, they didn't lose it. They had help, but nonetheless, be interesting to see how race control calls this.
So, guys, we're going to be about just under 60 laps to go at the restart. We are just getting started. Remember that whole back alley thing I talked about at the beginning?
What?
It's getting dark out.
Oh.
They're strapping on they're strapping on their boxing gloves now.
I would argue they already have been, because I was looking at a couple different places throughout that last sprint, and they're beating and banging all over the racetrack, trying to get past lap cars and, some knocks here and there into the side and the bumpers. So it was getting aggressive already. And now with this caution coming out, it's going to get even more aggressive for the restart.
Well, before we finish things out, make sure to wrap those knuckles up before you throw a punch with that SimWrap Market replay. Race fans, head over to SimWrap Market for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And it's been spicy, of course, tonight. Be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. rickshotsauce.com. All right, so everybody is on fresh tires and fuel. I think even those that are 100 laps in, Connor Horn is one of them. Coming down pit lane now and has rolled on through. 4 tires and fuel and some damage repair for him. And Brad Slaughter Jr. still has 100 laps on his, but everyone in the top 15 is refueled, good to go to the end here, Finian, and now the goal is make it there.
Yeah, it really is. It's effectively become a sprint now. We'll see. I mean, we had a really long green flag run right up into that caution that we never really usually see at Bristol. But that being said, there's a lot on the line here. Everyone's got fresh tires. Everyone knows how valuable track position is here, especially on these restarts. So they're going to be going pretty hard and aggressively here. Might see some more cautions. I wouldn't be surprised if we do.
Here we go, lap 141, 60 laps left here at Bristol, Tennessee. Seth Knowles, your leader, he chooses the inside, and we're back underway at the world's fastest half mile.
Seth Knowles taking care of the lead. Oh, as the caution's out in behind.
David Weishart in the 33 is destroyed. Oh, man.
That's huge damage on the front of the 33.
He is gloves off. Second week in a row. See what happens. 83 to the bottom, and Ricky Springer. Man.
Wow.
Contact with the 33 and around he went off the nose of that 51.
Oh, that's a big hit too.
Yeah, it's great. It's always amazing when you see the back of the car get airborne, so you know when there's a lot of energy involved in the impact.
You hear it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's if that was real light, that was definitely a concussion.
The car was light already, and then didn't help.
Well, it was announced earlier today from David Weishart Racing that they're rescinding their Cup and Truck charters, and they're going to go full in with the Pro Series. So not a good look for David Weishart Racing as they're looking to close out Season 5 on a strong note.
And it's been a tough tail end of the season for sure. Points updated, live points on the right-hand side of the screen. Here's how things look now. It's mostly been those bottom 4 kind of shuffling around. But where James Scioli is right now is really where he needs to finish because, again, coming in below the cut line, he's doing everything he needs to do tonight, Finney. He's up in the top 10. He's the only driver that's in the red in the top 10. That's good news for him. Bad news for Miller and Blaze McKinney. They will have a lot of work to do next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, and you know, looking at the points, the reason why he came in below the points, or I should say at the moment is below the cutoff, is because he ended up missing 2 rounds of the regular season. So he was a little bit close to the cutoff anyways, but performed well in the last couple rounds, got himself in. And now it's just a matter of just making up for lost ground and getting a good finish in. So he's now finally potentially looking at a good finish here, put himself in the top 5 in points. It should be good to make it to the second round, but of course that depends on how the next 50 laps or so play out because it's again starting to get more aggressive. We just saw right there in that restart, contact between the 51 and 33. Could see more of that, especially for these guys up there in front of the group.
Got good races to end the rounds too. So after this first round, well, to end the first round, we got Kansas, good old mile-and-a-half racing, and then got Iowa the following week, and then the we'll pour one out for Auto Club, as that is officially a gone racetrack, at least for now, until they put in their quote-unquote short track.
Yeah,
but
good luck with that.
We've always had some excellent racing there.
Amazon
good
Prime
finishes.
Super Center.
Well, to be fair, would you rather have a 2-mile racetrack that you go to once a year and then pay fees on, or sell the land for $500 million? I mean, I can see why they did it, but the nostalgia is gone from Southern California racing.
Yeah. Well, next week we head to Kansas Speedway for 140 laps, and we'll go racing in the cornfields after the hills and valleys here in Bristol, Tennessee. Right before the restart, Eric Wineland, what you got?
I'm just coming up to argue with Hunter that I still think the 2-mile track would have been a better viewing experience, and it absolutely provides better racing.
But Amazon Prime Fulfillment Center, Eric. How can we get our 2-day shipping that doesn't exist anymore?
I will not understand why we demolished the 2-mile racetrack that raced better than the other 2-mile racetrack. But Money, money, money.
2-day shipping. Green flag. Seth Knoll jumps away quickly as James Scioli's going to try to wrestle second from Nichols on the bottom of the racetrack. This is going to be a pretty fierce fight between these two.
Really fierce fight between these two. James Scioli trying to see if he can get by and break up the pair. So caution out immediately. Greg Mitchell.
That's going to trigger the yellow once more. I believe that's is that our 5th caution of the night?
6th. 6th yellow. And this is for Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Tim Rat Market replay. And here's what happened. Ooh, gets tagged Bondurant up the hill, and he got him twice.
Oh my goodness. And then Jeremy Miller gets a little piece of it on his right side.
He almost had it saved too.
Well, that was right in front of Connor Horn too.
Listed as cold-blooded murder.
Looked personal, yeah. The first one I could say is accidental. It almost looked like he purposely went right on the second one.
Greg Mitchell radio, guys.
Yikes. Who was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
No clue, but they don't know how to drive.
That's Greg's reaction.
Yikes, indeed. Yeah, when the race control listed as cold-blooded murder, you know it. I haven't heard that phrase in a whole lot of towers, but they probably should start using it because it gets the point across, I think.
Yeah, shout out to Carter Kubies. It was also really funny when he put earlier in the race with the number 13. 13 pulls a Casper, the friendly ghost, and appears midfield.
11 commits cold-blooded murder on the 2.
And EOL. Man, if you could get away with an EOL for murder. I didn't know Tennessee's laws were that loose.
It was not intentional. Unlike what we've seen in season 3.
Manslaughter.
Or season 4.
I always thought manslaughter sounded way worse than murder.
It does. It does.
I slaughtered a man. Sounds like
What if you slaughtered a woman? That's not woman slaughter. It's still manslaughter.
The Brad Slaughter? Brad Slaughter Jr.
That's my pick.
Well, it's 14th. Sorry to tell you.
I am so glad we segued out of that. I was not ready to get delisted on YouTube and Twitch.
Well, Brad Slaughter doesn't like me when I pick him because he never does well, apparently.
I was going to say that trend's continuing, unfortunately.
What's up?
If you love Slaughter so much, maybe you can pick up some shop.areairacing.com merch on Brad Slaughter. Race fans, no need to fear. Winter is here. Bundle up, especially with this winter storm coming to the northeast. Shop.areairacing.com. All the gear, new selections, champion hoodies, jackets, sweatshirts. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com.
Got it. Bing, bang, bung. Right.
Prepared for the 5 to 8 inches of snow.
Is that how much is Chicago getting snow? We just got
no. We're talking where Finian and I are from.
Oh, that's no fun.
Good old Pennsylvania.
Oh, come! I just get windy and 40 all week.
Yeah.
So what happens in Chicago every year is we get one good snow, and then it melts halfway, and then it deep freezes. And we got that. And then it thawed all the way, and now we're just into gray, brown.
Is the river frozen? That's the question.
Nope. No, it is not.
I've seen some time lapses of the ice moving across on there. That's pretty cool.
Probably from like 3 years ago. Global warming. Just kidding. That's not how that works. Weather, not climate. All right, lap 155. We're getting crazy here. We're getting down. If this race goes green, it's over in 12 minutes. That's how fast things can go.
I doubt.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Press X to doubt. Here we go. Lap 155 at 200. 46 laps left at Bristol.
Guy trying to get up to pace, just fighting with Nichols and Seth Knoll. When the caution came out, trying to fight on that bottom lane, can't quite get there. Jake Matheson looking to the 7s outside, trying to fight him for 3rd.
Top 4 are all playoff drivers. Beckner trying to make that top 5, still trying to get around Newbigging for the 5th spot. Just going to look underneath O'Kresick for 6 just to keep him at bay. But up front, it's still the Solar Flare Racing guys, 1-2.
Delonte Ballard and Justin Asogak both had big slides out of the corner that time, but they gathered it up. Spin! Delonte
spin!
Ballard. Onto the apron and caution out.
And another one bites dust.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the same thing. Tires just losing grip on corner exit. There's a look. This will be a drive-through penalty this time. I think is this the second of the night? Is that why?
Yep.
Really, we don't normally get to the drive-through penalties typically.
No, typically we don't. Usually people behave. Usually.
We're going to be under 40 to go, and you can only imagine it's going to accelerate the chaos up here at the front. Nobody has to pit, so it's just going to be track position game and restart games from here on out, and progressively the desperation will climb at the front of the field as it always does at the end of these things.
And you can bet that no one is really going to pit because effectively, at the beginning you could argue people were willing to pit, get the fresher tires work, especially when you're getting longer green flag runs. But I think everyone's noticing now we're going to be getting fewer and fewer longer green flag runs and much shorter ones, so that you don't want to lose out on that track position. So we've got Eric back with us from pit lane. Eric, what do you got for us?
Yeah, just think about how long it took Jake to get back to the front, and he's still technically not leading the race, though his teammate is Seth Knoll, and they are on the same strategy. But think back there, how long it took Jake Nichols to cycle back to the front after he got off sequence on the first set of stops of the night. So I don't know if I want to, if you're going to give up the track position to make that stop for tires, you do it early. And this would be as bad as late as I would think you could do it, because anything longer than 40 laps of stop go might be tough to make it back, but it all depends on how those yellows fall. So also of note, longest pit lane on the circuit for Delonte Ballard to drive through.
And he has to serve that under green, correct?
As soon as the green flag falls, so he can come down while the field is rolling into the restart zone. The problem is pit road entries at turn 2, so he has to come under the green flag at the start finish line to be able to then come down and serve it. So he will basically serve that under green. And Ricky Springer lost 3 laps on a green flag pit stop?
Yeah, he got one of those back. He's only 2 down now. And then Greg Mitchell is 1 lap down. Those are the only drivers laps down. The other drivers that are done and out for the night: David Weishart, Spencer Burns, Mason Kane, and Garrett Grant. Cedric Hunter was out, but he's rejoined 64 laps behind the next car. I don't think there's actually even a mathematical point in running because there's not enough laps left.
No.
So I don't really know. Just, I guess running for fun, I suppose. Look at the points and the cut line again. We haven't really moved anyone above it or below it in a while, but the numbers have shifted around a bit. Blaze McKinney 4 back from Matthew Bell. So despite Matthew Bell running in 8th, Blaze McKinney is only right behind him, 11th place on track.
Yeah, looking at the top of the order: Matheson, Nichols, Beckner, Scioli in the points, top 5. And then Matthew Bell just barely above in 8th, and then Blaze McKinney just below, 4 points back in 9th place. For McKinney, as far as where he's running on the racetrack, he's running up in 12th. Let's see if he can improve here. See how many people are going to improve, or if anyone drops back, because we've been getting a string of cautions, and I think we might see a couple more here before we're done.
Pace car pulls off, under 40 laps to go now. It is go time if it wasn't already. Green flag here at Bristol. Seth Knoll again on the bottom, drives away. Scioli trying to wrestle second from Jake Nichols down the back straightaway. Matheson fills the gap in the upper lane.
Yeah, saw a couple cars on the inside lane on the restart immediately shoved their car to the outside lane as soon as they could. Just a couple feet past the start-finish line. They're all trying to get up to that top lane, stop the bleeding. You don't want to be down on the bottom. No one wants to be on the bottom because that's where you're going to get just pass and freight train, as you see with Matheson getting around James Scally for 3rd.
And there's the Leo, and right in front of him is Lakatos trying to make it through. And it's a freight train on that outside lane. Matheson looking low, trying to get a run for 2nd, going to tuck back in 3rd. Meanwhile, Newbigging trying to get his way back around Beckner.
Jake Nichols is right in behind Seth Knoll. It's playoff time now. You've got teammates. You're still focused on the team championship, Finian, but you can't hold back yet. You got to make sure that you get to that next round. And Jake Nichols, I don't think is going to hold back much from his teammate if it means a win is on the line.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, you want to really push your teammate that far, and especially this early. Some might argue they may not even really need the win, just a solid points finish at the moment. And at least in this round of the championship, and Jake Matheson's in behind. pounding them, as well as James Scully, Travis Beckner also trying to go to the inside. Number 7, ooh, Beckner shoves the door shut on Connor Kresick in behind. Everyone's fighting really hard for every
Water
spot
in
in
the
that
wall.
outside lane.
Water still in the wall and trying to keep it out of harm's way. Licata's almost getting a piece of that. Him and McKinney trying to avoid the 83. But yeah, going back up front, Noel leading, it would be the best case scenario for Solar Flare Racing to get one of their drivers in on the win, that being Noel and then Nichols, who's about almost 40 points above the cutoff line. But we see Connor Horn running in the 12th spot, looking to make up some more positions as he's currently 11 points above the cutoff.
Yeah, he's actually salvaged this night very well considering the crash he was involved in earlier. And the damage didn't seem to be too extensive, and he's carrying on and continuing, which is very critical to his moving on in the playoff fight as Jake Matheson is just clinging to third. It's at the 14 of a Kresick popping out of line behind him. It is frantic back here at the tail half of the top 10.
Absolutely frantic in behind there, all duking it out hard for those last couple spots to get inside. And even Blaze McKinney, you know, we're talking about him, he's up to 10 now, finally back inside the top 10 after starting in 9th. And now potentially going to be in 8th as he gets past 71. Potentially the 14 is also stuck on the bottom.
Trying to work his way through.
Whoa! Douglas Dubing, I think, just made contact, and he's not around, but someone else is around. That's Blake Hopp in the 23.
And there's another car involved with that, Ed Robertson in the 64. I mentioned Blaze McKinney chasing Matthew Bell down because that's a cut line fight that we are watching as well.
It was a big crash in turn 3.
Look at it. Entering turns 1 and 2 now. There's the 64 and the 23. And gets loose. And big pile up. Man, 4 cars involved. Zenesak and Ricky Springer also caught up in it. That's a mess. Look at the 22 just squeaking through. The 41 got a bit of damage in that as well. Big mess down the back straightaway and into turn 3. Oof. Under 25 laps to go. Now what?
Rack him, restack him. It's a pick up from the 7 of Skyline. No one's coming out of pit lane at this point. Up by district. Well, Douglas Dubing is down. I'm not sure if he's deciding to finally fix some damage or what. A couple takers back further down the field. It's got Eric Quinlan. They're coming down to you.
Connor Horn is coming down pit road, guys. I don't understand this one because he already had fresher tires than the guys he was racing around. He went from like 20th to 10th on this past set of cycles there since we were at about 45 to go, 24 to go now. And he's going to chance it again, I guess. I don't know the reasoning behind this. I can understand Jeremy Miller. He was running a little further down the order. He needs to get something going to try to score some points. Meanwhile, I was listening to, but cannot play for you guys, Connor O'Kresick, who was freaking out and singing high praises and dropping a couple 4-letter words that he was very happy to finally restart on the top side upcoming because he's restarted on the bottom the past 4 restarts, and he has gone nothing but backward every time he's restarted on the bottom. So expect the top side to still be the dominant place to be on the restarts.
I think the choose rule might be one of NASCAR's best rules implementations, and I'd like to get that here in iRacing for tracks like this in particular.
I'm surprised we haven't got it, to be honest.
Well, race control, as we know, is the deepest part of the spaghetti code for iRacing to undo. So,
I mean, they've been trying to spaghettify it. So,
Fidian, we didn't throw a yellow with a car sideways in turn 1 earlier in this race.
that is true. That is true.
The cars behind went to the apron, we believe, and that's why. Yeah, I don't understand it, but some places out there have implemented the rule. I know FTF's just used it in their FTF 500 this past weekend, and Area is considering exploring it. I'll leave it at that, but it might be a little too much for us to handle, especially for regular season races.
Well, here's the one thing I don't mind about that Connor Horn call is that he only lost 5 positions, I think, or 4 positions. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it, only because you're not going to pit again. No one ahead of you is going to pit again. So you're only going to have an advantage. We still got enough laps left that you can use the tires. You just have to be
if we go green.
Well, that's the key.
Doesn't really even really matter what he does. It's just a matter of if the race goes green enough or not to make up. He's going to be starting on that outside lane, so that's going to be one advantage coming his way. But again, it's just going to be a matter how many more green flag laps we're going to have to finish this race out. Sure, for everyone else besides Seth Nolly wants to go caution to the end so he can run away with this thing, but we'll see how it plays out.
Jake Matheson is getting ready to go racing. He wants to go. 21 laps remaining here at Bristol. Green flag, and it's 5 minutes to the checkers if we go green.
Jake Matheson, oh, contact with the leader. Seth Nolly on the wall, and they're all scattered around. Jake Matheson in the lead, 4 wide in turn 3 and 4.
Crash behind him.
Crash in the back. Bondurant spinning around. That's going to bring out the caution.
Oh, boy.
Wow. We got enough to look at here for this caution.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
Well, let's start with what happened up front. This is right after the restart. Things have been brewing in the back, so that's why I was keeping an eye on that rear of the field. Matheson, big lunge here, gets into the back of the one. And that's what stacks everybody up here. And then that really, this kind of triggered that secondary crash as the field stacked up behind. Watch Curran here, he's going to jump on the brakes. Justin Bondurant, Newbegin kind of shoots the gap here. Connor Horn just snakes through there. But yeah, this is, Matheson ended up with the lead after all this, which is not going to make the Solar Flare guys very happy.
No, I can't imagine not. He'd actually want to continue riding on this after the yellow came out. I think it was in the
Oh,
He hit the wall.
Well, not only that, you're going to see right here the one is Seth Knoll.
Yeah.
Was not happy with that, showing his displeasure.
Well, the knuckles are getting bloodied right now.
Well, here's the interesting thing, too, is that if Seth Knoll or Jake Matheson chooses, if he starts on the inside, which you doubt he is, he could be lined up in behind Seth Knoll. So I have a feeling, strong feeling, he's going to pick the outside for the restart.
have a little bit of a hunch.
I mean, Travis Beckner, not necessarily the best of friends with anybody in that Solar Flare group either. So Miller Racing versus Solar Flare, this is the battle we came for, and this is the battle we will see.
See Travis Beckner, he's got his game face on, he's ready to go.
Remember, I should have picked Travis. Remember at the beginning of the race, I said you give me Travis Beckner up into the front with a reason at the end of this race? I mean, he will
Why
not.
did you pick him?
Well, didn't qualify very well in his Bristol, so can you really blame me?
How you already qualified? That's not bad.
That's back of the half of Bristol.
If that's Jake Nichols standards, that's bad, but
Eric Weiland's on pit lane. Save me, Eric. What's going on?
You guys will love this radio. I've joined, what is that, Jacob Bell Racing to listen into what Casey Lakatos had to say, because Casey Lakatos is suddenly coming alive in 11th place. But he had nothing to say. His teammate Justin Anasogak did.
These drivers are idiots. There you go. They're idiots. All of them.
Even when they try to sound mean,
67.
Casey
He is
Lakatos'
not happy.
niceness is wearing off on everybody in that Discord.
Justin Anasogak is not happy with all the drivers on the racetrack with him. And I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I were Solar Flare Racing after just getting booted out of the lead right there as well.
He sounded damn near joyful saying that. The Wisconsin's wearing off. These guys are so mean. Darn it.
Wisconsin, man, Justin Anasogak is from Alaska.
No, I know, but
by the way.
Lakatos is from Wisconsin, and the cheese is wearing off.
Ah.
Jesus wearing off.
Grating some Wisconsin cheddar over there. I wanted to go to Wisconsin and get some cheese and beer on my birthday this past year, but I got COVID and couldn't go.
That's unfortunate. Well, but next year.
Well, don't want to wish it. Commentator curse. All right, guys, 15 laps, and the game is on. We're not pulling things off the front. Two teams very much against each other. Green flag in the air, 15 to go.
Okay, we'll see if like the Super Bowl last night's going to go, if it's going to overtime here with the way these restarts have been. Beckner soaring on the outside of Seth Knoll, battling for second place. Position essentially decided. Here comes James Cowley doing the same, rocketing around the one.
Matheson trying to drive it like he stole a 3-car length lead over second place. Meanwhile, Knoll on the fall back to 5th as Nichols goes up to the spot. Here comes Matthew Bell looking to crack the top 5.
And Matthew Bell's got to run because Blaze McKinney's not too far behind. He's in the wall. Laconis has a big moment. Ooh, that was very, very close. Connor Horn trying to move forward on those fresher tires, running out of laps, running out of time.
Yeah, everyone's feeling that they're running out of time here. Everyone's fighting very hard for position. Seth Knoll finally gets to the outside, will stay in 5th at the moment. His teammate Jake Nichols ahead of him in 4th. It's Skyler Beckner and Matheson, your top 5 to the lead. And there is the 3 of Ryan Hartz running in 9th place. He's inside Blaze McKinney, who's in 8th. And who had a big dive in behind someone. I think it's Everett Shear Jr. We haven't really talked a whole lot about it, that 17 car. He's trying to make some moves here in the later going.
Trying to get around Nichols for 11th. Tyler Nichols, that is, as he's side by side. Here comes Horn trying to make it 3 wide going in the turn.
Can't wait. He can't wait any longer. He's got to go if he wants these tires to pay off here. 10 laps to go. Matheson leads his teammate Beckner by 0.2 of a second. Here comes Scioli for second. And how many times have these drivers come to blows the last couple of years?
Many times, and we could see a big blow here depending on how this plays out here. Scioli looking the inside, dive to the inside of the 28. Beckner trying to pinch him off from that middle lane on the outside.
Beckner trying to hold off for second. Meanwhile, Jake Nichols coming in, and once again, the fight for the podium spot is up for grabs. Scioli looks to the inside.
Game face is on. Beckner playing rear gunner and taking shots at Scioli.
Oh, in behind, Connor Horn 3 wide with Everett Shear Jr. in the middle and Tyler Nichols on the outside.
And Nichols and Scioli. Here comes a 73 to the top side.
Nichols found a way to make a move, and he will do so, and he's up ahead into 3rd.
Miller had contact with Nichols and almost in the horn there as Tyler Nichols' brother Jake Nichols up to 3rd and Scioli down to 4th. They're still going at it back there.
It
I
is.
saw Connor slam the door shut on his teammate Jeremy Miller trying to get in the outside lane.
I got places to be. Cut line separation is 3 points between Bell and McKinney. Bell and McKinney separated by just 2 spots on the racetrack, 6th and 8th.
Yeah, look at this stack up all in behind Matthew Bell. He's essentially the cork in the bottle. They're all stacked up on that outside lane. Everett Shear Jr. trying to make some progress on the bottom. Connor Horn trying to figure out which lane to go with.
He's got the 17 of Shearer Jr. in front of him as he's looking to make his way on the bottom. Mike going to have to use the bumper here, or he's just going to go in the middle as he's trying to get closer to that top 10 spot.
3 laps to go. It'll soon be 2. Crash!
There we go! Horn spins!
He saves
keep
it.
it straight!
He saves
Wow,
it.
oh
If
my
he stays
gosh.
straight, he'll lose 5 spots. And can Jake Matheson get to the white flag?
We'll see here. He comes flying out of turn 4, and there he goes. White flag in the air. We're finishing this race.
Jake Matheson needs to win this race to solidify his next push into the playoffs. He'd be the only one qualified in. He's got nothing to worry about next week when he head to Kansas because it is checkered flag, win, crash behind him for second place. Nichols, Scioli, Beckner, Nichols, Scioli in that order.
Wow, that was a drag race to the line for second place, 3 wide.
It was 1/1000th of a second separating Nichols and Scioli between second and third. I mean, Nichols flat out sent it in turn 3 into Beckner, into the wall, and then Scioli on the bottom. Wow! Crash after the finish, but the 7 just by maybe a fingernail.
Woohoo, man. I'll bet you Beckner's going to be fired up about that. That'll be a fun interview. He 4, but I think we got to talk to him.
I just heard Beckner on the radio. He's very fired up on the radio.
Oh, well, that means it's time to chat. Let's first go over our session results here. Have a look. Jake Matheson, he is a white number background who's supposed to be yellow, but next week he's green, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, in fact, playoff drivers all finishing in the top 6, and then you can see there, we got 8 of them in the top 10. They're all performed fairly well, all things considered, but in different orders. You see Blaze McKinney peaking there in 9th, Jeremy Miller in 10th, also showing his name was able to finally get up there, having a fairly mediocre night, all things considered. And of course, that 3-way finish with Scioli, Nichols, and Beckner for second place, fantastic to watch. Seth Knoll, he's got to be very disappointed. He's probably going to be really annoyed with the 56 after he got punted out of the lead, or that's what he's going to feel like it was.
That's win number 5 on the season for Matheson, and yeah, that's going to be interesting heading into next week. at Kansas between Nichols and Beckner, seeing if that continues. But good runs for Blaze McKinney and Jeremy Miller. And then the two drivers not in the playoffs, so Krezek, Shearer Jr. in the top 10. Good finishes for those guys.
All right, we'll cut these off for now because I want to get Travis in here before things get too heated downstairs. Travis Beckner comes home 4th in this race. Travis, a frantic tail end of the race there. You were just trying to play rear gunner for your teammate. Things got physical at the end. What happened? What, from your perspective, did you see out the windshield?
The guy just drove it in there and intentionally put me up on the wall. I didn't do anything to him. I understand what my teammate Jake did. That was just a mistake, but the guy just drove it in there and didn't give. I can't say that word, but yeah, I'm mad. I'm really mad. I mean, the guy just drove way in there over his head, and I don't know. It's a stupid move. Stupid. But yeah, it's just stupid.
Travis, how do things carry over from this round to the next, or this race to the next? Is this over, or is this carry on?
Nope, not over at all.
Travis Beckner, 4th place here tonight at Bristol. Travis, congratulations. Top 5. I know it wasn't quite what you wanted, but good run there.
Yep, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Calusa Pines, Alien Gear Holsters, Celsius Area Shop, everybody at Miller Racing, Low Dollar Racing, y'all taking the time out of your day to come broadcast this. Thanks,
Travis. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on next. I do also want to chat with Seth Knoll. We'll do that if we get the opportunity. Next up is going to be Jake Nichols, who gets 3rd place. Hi, Jake. As I know it's fierce down there at the moment, but it got aggressive. Fenders were leaned on, and words were traded. Take us through those last 15, 20 laps.
A lot of grip tonight. I felt like we had one of the best cars. You know, we made a bad call early. I was thinking because we had little, and we didn't have too many tire sets, so I felt like maybe I could hold on to a top 10 or so. It worked out in the end. We got back to where we were. It took longer than I wanted, but I mean, Miller Racing has a reputation with most in this league that's not good. I'm not going to say all of them because it's not all of their drivers. I'm not going to put all of them in one bunch, but there's a few. And no offense to Jake Matheson, but when he drove through Seth, I feel like that opened the window. I'm not going to let them just drive through us, especially if there's no punishment for it for no reason. And I just sent it underneath Travis. We kind of got glued together, and I just committed to trying to beat him to the start finish. I felt like, yeah, it's not clean. You guys know, you guys have seen me for 3 seasons here, 4 seasons now. I'm not a dirty driver, but I'm not going to also allow us to just get used up every single week by one team. Not even just us, the whole league get used up by one team and just let them get away with it. So I'll always defend my drivers when we are as clean as we can be in certain situations. We'll race hard, but we try not to wreck everybody and wreck people and cause cautions, and just giving them what they deserve back. That's all. I'm glad we got 3rd. Glad Seth held on damn good for 5th. I don't know how. We were destroyed after that incident in turn 2 on one of those restarts, but we'll take it in the Solar Flare Toyota Camrys. I don't know where Tyler finished, but he was happy after what had happened and losing a lap, so I'm sure he had a great run at the end. And either way, we'll come out of it with an okay finish for team points. Better than nothing, but I don't know. It's just there hasn't been a lot of respect in this league from certain people, and sometimes you just got to dish it back out.
Jake Nichols, thanks for your time. Congratulations on a P3, and we'll see you next week at Kansas, fighting hard as always. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Of course. We'll see you there.
Yep.
All right, Seth Knoll finishes 5th place tonight, and Seth, typically we don't interview 4th or 5th or beyond, but we had to give you a chance to speak after that chaotic last handful of laps. You led a bunch of laps tonight, 48 in fact, and we're leading towards the end there, and things all kind of turned belly up. Take us through what you saw at the mirror and then out the windshield.
Yeah, I mean, we ran a really good race. The long run that we got, it was nice to have a long run here. Long runs here are probably my favorite thing on the sim. So we were able to get to the lap traffic, battle it out with the top 4, me, James, and both the Jakes. Then that caution was 75 to go. I didn't have quite the short run pace. Thankfully, I had Jake behind me that was able to just kind of control us and just let us sit there and do what we needed to do to hold on. Then we got the obvious restart where I had ran like half a lane off the bottom, and then I was kind of setting up my exit, and Jake kind of drove really hard entry to center and tried to maximize to clear Jake, and then he got my left rear, and the rest is history. Obviously, it sucks not winning tonight. Big picture, team points got a top 5 for both me and Nichols, so we'll go to Kansas next week and try and execute that.
Seth, P5 tonight. We'll see you at Kansas next week. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it, boys.
Appreciate it. And we're going to move on now to James Scioli, who pulls a second out tonight, led the most laps this evening, James, and you were below the cut line coming into the night, and you're going to walk away well above it, at least 10 points above it, which is something. So he finished second after starting on pole. Do you have a shot to win this thing with a few more laps?
I don't know. Maybe if we had a couple more restarts, some guys just really want to wreck each other for this thing. So I guess I'm going to have to do that eventually. It kind of seems we just get a lot of yellows at the end of this thing and guys just run each other over. So hard to be mad about it today. It got me a couple more spots there on that last restart, but definitely sucks to see. But it seems like the updates lately to the iRacing have just made it so hard to pass. So you almost kind of have to do it, unfortunately. I'm just more mad that I didn't either try to on that last pit stop. And then I was also kind of upset that I lost the lead in traffic there. Just thought that the top was going to roll a little bit better and ended up getting stuck behind somebody who hit the wall and lost the lead. So just wish we could have had a longer green flag run to finish it, get it, see what we could do. But it was pretty impossible to pass out there. So I don't, without being in the lead there on the last restart, I don't think I really had a shot.
Looking forward to Kansas next week. It's a much bigger track, much different race. How do you feel about your shots there of advancing with a 10-point cushion?
It's been a while since I've run there, but I've always liked how Kansas drives. Haven't run there since the updates, so we'll see if maybe the bottom works a little bit better. I know Kansas is usually a top dominant track, so we'll have to see about that, see if we can make any passes, but big thing's just going to be qualifying up front and just trying to keep the track position. Hopefully we can get some green flag stops, and hopefully the long run matters a little more.
James Scioli, second in the number 7 Simrat Market Chevy. We'll see you at Kansas, James. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I want to give a huge shout out to you guys for all that you do, capturing those battles. Jake and I tied at the line there, so that was kind of cool to see. And then huge shout out to Simrat Market, new paint scheme this week. Shout out to John Peel and Lucky Ducks Motorsports, and then Coastal Tinting and Roasted Gems Coffee and Stream for No Kid Hungry. And hopefully we're talking to you guys next week and advancing on through.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks so much, James, and we'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.
All right, it was win number 5, I believe, for Jake Matheson. And through all the carnage, through all the chaos, Jake, you managed to grab another win here this season. Boy, it got spicy off your front bumper and then in the rearview mirror. Take us through what happened there, those closing laps.
I feel so bad about it. I like to race with Seth Clean. We always race hard. We always race great. And the one time I was looking at my mirror at the wrong time, I rolled the bottom so well into his back bumper, and it caused that. So I feel horrible about it, really. But, I was looking forward to Bristol. I always like the racing at this place. I was interested to see what it would do with the whole, dynamic track, the different lines heating up, and it definitely played a factor. So pretty all right race. I'm glad we got some green flag runs. And again, sorry to Seth, sorry to Jake. I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that. I don't feel good about it. So that's that.
Well, maybe you don't feel good about it, but it's still a win, and it will put you into the next round of the playoffs. So with Kansas kind of a wash for you, next focus is Iowa and Auto Club in that second round. How do you feel about those races and advancing to the final round at Chicagoland?
I look forward to Iowa. That's a really interesting track. I feel like it's a place not a lot of people have a lot of laps at, so it's kind of a toss-up who's really the fastest one to unload and who can keep it up throughout the race. So I'm excited for that one for sure. And Chicagoland, love Chicagoland. I don't know why they got it off the schedule in NASCAR, real NASCAR. But yeah, love that place. Really excited for it. Kansas, like you said, kind of a scratch, but it'll be fun. It's all fun. I love doing this.
Jake Matheson wins at Bristol, conquers the last great Coliseum. Jake, we'll see you next week in Kansas.
Thank you guys so much. Real quick before we go, thank you to Calusa Pines, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and Miller Racing. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And we'll see you there. Thanks, Jake.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. All right, guys, that got a little interesting. But looking through the results one final time here, Finney, before we sign off, we were treated to a classic Bristol brawl there at the end. Fenders leaning on each other. Everybody's mad. And I think, what's funny is it's not just one driver versus another. It's like an entire team against another team, which I think is going to set things up perfectly for our foray into Kansas next week, where we'll conclude this first round.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a bit unfortunate to see drama when drivers are going at each other's throat, but hey, for someone watching it and for us up in the booth, it makes it very interesting for this championship to have essentially, like you said, 2 teams versus each other with very quick drivers. Just looking at your points. Unofficial, of course, heading into next week. Matheson locked in with Jake Nichols, Seth Knoll, Beckner, Skyly, Horan, Curran, and Bell above the cutoff. Then you got McKinney, Miller, Lakatos, and Hunter out of it, looking to find themselves in. For Cedric Hunter, it might be a little bit much, and even for Lakatos, but for Miller and McKinney, it could be close. Depending on how things play out, it always gets interesting, especially when you get to these cutoff races.
Yeah, what a race we had. Very good. Even had some drama at the very end because, we're at Bristol. You beat and bang, you bump, you had the bump and run. Inopportune bump and run in the case for Matheson. Prospers racing clean, does that week in and week out, but this time just gets into the bumper of Nolan. That creates a whole domino effect that will be fun to watch as they head into Kansas next week.
What a wild race. I love this, Kyle. I love this. It's short track racing. It brings out the best and the worst. And I love the rivalry we got going on here between Solar Flare and Miller. It's kind of felt like they've traded blows in the team championship over the last couple seasons. And finally it's coming to fruition with some jabs back and forth. If you talk to Jake Nichols and Travis Beckner, I guess we got a Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson situation on our hands. Kurt Busch took a jab to the left, so I took a jab back to the right type deal back in 2011. If anyone still remembers that from Pocono, and I feel like it's what we kind of saw there tonight between the Miller and Solar Flare guys. Kansas is going to be a wild one, Kyle. I'm looking forward to it.
Kansas next week, Bristol for the rest of it. We'll see you tomorrow night for the trucks, and then on Thursday for the Pro Series.